Once upon a time, there was a king, as the legend goes, who had everything the world had to offer. A lot of gold, power, land, and even the respect and love of his people. He had it all, but he had a major problem. He was not happy. So he summoned his counselors in the kingdom to inquire, how can I go about being happy? One proposed that he find a truly happy man and wear his shirt. So he sent out his soldiers throughout the kingdom to find the happiest person they could. And eventually they did find a happy man. Unfortunately, he didn't own a shirt. Vanity of Vanities proclaims Koheleth, who was on to recount the perils of wealth. In the gospel, Jesus tells us a parable about the danger of greed and the fragile nature of possessions. Luke begins with an all too familiar fight over an inheritance between two brothers, which Jesus is asked to adjudicate. He refuses, but he warns against greed by recounting a parable illustrating that one's life does not consist of possessions. The Greek word for greed means grasping for more. It was defined by a Greek philosopher as the metropolis of all evil. Paul told us in the second reading that greed is the same thing as idolatry. Now, the parable Jesus told begins on a positive note. A rich man's land produced a bountiful harvest. And in the minds of most people, that was a blessing from God. And so, the landowner, though, decided that he was so fortunate that now he could retire. He could build a better barn, store everything away, and then eat, drink, and be merry the rest of his life. But as Jesus tells us in the parable, God tells him, "You fool, tonight you're going to die." A rather strict or harsh God seems to emerge from this parable story. Why did the rich man warrant such a condemnation? I suppose in today's world, you would compare him to someone who tried to corner the market on some commodity in order to make the price go up. More likely, the rich man turned his back on the teaching of the Torah, which prescribes that the gleanings of the harvest must be left for the poor, the widow, the orphan, and the immigrant. It was because he rejected God's word that he received such a harsh judgment. Today's readings present a special challenge to us as Americans who enjoy, for the most part, a lot of prosperity. We are aware that the grass between rich and poor seems to grow bigger and bigger every day. I suppose the bigger bonds for us would be a bigger home, a bigger car, a bigger entertainment center. How shall we Christians today, though, be rich in what is important to God? Because that's what really matters. What does God expect of us? We're warned that money and position and power are false senses of security. During a press conference, the late Senator Paul Tsongas was asked a variety of questions about his unsuccessful bid for the presidency and his struggle with cancer. When a reporter asked him if he had any regrets about his political career, he summed it up by simply saying, I don't know anyone on their deathbed who ever said, I wish I had spent more time in the office. A biographer of Ernest Hemingway claims that on the first day of each year, Hemingway would give away one of his most prized possessions. When he was asked why he did this, he said, well, if I can give them away, I own them. If I can't give them away, they own me. If we make God our number one priority, and we spend our lives in openness to God's presence, I can guarantee that our hearts will be filled with overflowing of God's infinite love. We will be rich in what really matters. It's only when we turn to God and make Him first in our lives, then we can say, truly, relax, enjoy life here on earth, but most of all, relax and enjoy life in God's kingdom in heaven.